All right, so we're on lesson 9 homework, and this homework has to do with simplifying radicals and adding and subtracting radicals. And so let's skip number 1 because we did simplifying radicals in our last lesson. And number 2 actually is pretty easy because the two things have like radicands, and so our like radicands are radical 3 and radical 3. So you really could just pretend this is like 2x plus 5x. And so you know how many x's it is. You treat the radicals the same way. You just put the radicals at the end. You don't add those numbers. And let's skip down to number 3. So number 2 was easy because we had like radicals. Number 3 is not quite as easy because our radicals are not alike. And so I'm going to simplify the radicals first so that they are alike, and then I can add them or subtract them. So I'm going to start with the square root of 8. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so the square root of 8, I can simplify it to the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. And I chose 4 and 2 because 4 is a perfect square. And so the square root of 4 is just 2 radical 2. And now I'm going to do the square root of 18. The square root of 18 I can break up into the square root of 9 times the square root of 2. And, oops, 9 times 2. And again, I chose 9 because 9 is a perfect square. And the square root of 9 is 3, so I have 3 radical 2. And so I have 2 radical 2 plus 3 radical 2, and then I can't forget about this one, minus a radical 2. And now you can see that all of our radicands are alike, radical 2, radical 2, radical 2. Once your radicands are alike, you can just add the numbers in front. And since there's no number in front of this one, I'm just going to make it a 1. So I have 2 radical 2's plus 3 radical 2's gives me 5 radical 2's, minus a radical 2 should give me 4 radical 2's. And that's it. Can't do anything else with that. You can't take the square root of 4 because it's not under a square root. You're just done. Okay, over at question number 4, I'm going to start with the square root of 50 and just kind of do this over to the side here. The square root of 50 I can break up into a perfect square times a non-perfect square, which would be 25 and 2, which gives me 5 radical 2. And 98 is a tricky one, but if I list my perfect squares, they are 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, and I happen to know that 49 goes into 98 2 times, so I'm going to do the square root of 49 and the square root of 2. Okay, so that gives me 7 radical 2. Oops, hold on. Not the square root of 7. It should just be 7. Okay, so 7 radical 2. I wrote a square root again. One more time. 7 radical 2. And so I'm copying down that plus. I'm going to put it all over 6. So you're going to finish this up by adding 5 and 7, keep the square root of 2 there, and 6, and then you'll have to do a little simplifying.